I was a 90s kid. Like, I turned 13 in the year 2000, so I was really a 90s kid. And the thing that sucked the most about it was that I had to be a teenager in, like, the lamest decade ever.
At the start of the 90s, Richard Linklater made Slacker, followed in a few years by the much more famous Dazed and Confused.
That's what I love about these high school girls, man. I get older, they stay the same age.
His work inspired Kevin Smith to write Clerks.
I'm not even supposed to be here today! Oh, fuck you!
Grunge music grew and died in the 90s with bands like Nirvana and Alice in Chains. The concept of heavy metal as a part of the semi-mainstream grew and died in the 90s, as MTV championed bands like Pantera and shows like Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah!
The 2000s saw the death of goth being replaced by emo. The death of punk being replaced by emo punk.
We've got the American Jesus, exercising his authority. Lost it all, and nothing lasts forever. I'm sorry, I can't be perfect.
Oh, what the fuck happened to this world?
It even saw the death of bad pop culture being replaced by pop culture that didn't even pretend to do anything. Kim Kardashian is now a cliche, the #1 go-to for evidence that modern culture is in the shithouse. You don't even have to think about it. To me, the 90s were a reflection of the 70s in a lot of ways. After all, the 70s saw the rise and death of indie cinema with folk like Scorsese, Lucas, Hopper, and Coppola. Punk and metal were both conceived in the 70s, with bands like Zeppelin, Sabbath, Motorhead.
Who'd win in a wrestling match, Lemmy or God? Lemmy.
God. Wrong, dickhead. Trick question. Lemmy is God.
The Ramones and the Sex Pistols. Similarly, the 2000s were kind of a reflection of the 80s. I mean, there are bands now that if you actually put them in the 80s, people would just be like, wow, that synth sounds really crisp. The ethics of the 80s seems to be revived in the 2000s as well. For the most part, conservatives were in power, and there's been something of a libertarian revival. And that most 80s cliche seems to have hijacked a large portion of the political discourse.
Greed, for lack of a better word, is good. Greed is right. Greed works.
An idea that in the 90s and 70s might have spelled political death for an outspoken proponent.
The 70s and the 90s are heroin. The 80s and 2000s, cocaine. Or, perhaps more accurately for the 2000s, meth. I came to this conclusion as we head into the current decade, but it kind of feels like we're heading through our tweens towards an adolescence that James Dean might just be proud of. And I see no better example of this than Bobcat Goldthwait's third film, God Bless America.
I wanted an Escalade! This is the biggest day of my life and I'm doing all the work! That was
Following the mild success of his previous film, World's Greatest Dad, Bobcat Goldthwait takes aim at reality TV, shock jocks, inconsiderate assholes, right-wing fearmongers, and religious nutjobs alike in his most recent foray into the world of auteur filmmaking. Two unlikely allies, fed up with the general repulsiveness of the stupid ages, decide to go on a killing spree, taking out all the inconsiderate, malicious, self-obsessed assholes in their paths. Brutal, merciless, and wickedly self-indulgent, this movie is not made for the Roger Eberts of the world. What's not to love?
So let's take a closer look at today's film, God Bless America.
What is wrong with Lindsay Lohan? She used to have a lot of potential. I don't know what happened.
The film begins with our hero Frank, played by Joel Murray, laying in bed, eyes wide open, as his neighbours talk loudly, listen to very loud television playing entertainment news, and ignoring their crying baby. So Frank decides to blow them all the fuck away. Or so we're led to believe in what turns out to be just a fantasy. There's a little bit of self-selection going on here, as hopefully most of the people that are going to be a pain in the ass about the film will have left by now. However, while it stays steadily aggressive and intolerant of any kind of stupid bullshit, this is pretty much the limit in terms of fucked up shit in the movie. Frank snaps out of his daydream and decides to watch some television where more of the apparently diseased society is showcased.
You poop in my food! What?
What's your name?
Stevie Clark.
What are you singing for us, Stephen Clark?
Do you know where you're going to?
What?
Do you like the things that life is showing you? There's no
Stop it. I'm stopping you.
What are you hoping for?
Okay, stop. What are you doing? Stop bowing. Just stop everything and listen to me. Do you have a mental problem?
We fade to the morning when Frank heads into work and the theme continues.
It's my favorite part of the show when they have the crazies on.
I know, I feel so guilty for laughing, but it is so funny.
His neighbor is a stupid asshole.
You blocked me in again.
You blocked yourself in, bro.
Okay.
The radio is dominated by stupid assholes.
Hey, if you place this well with one testicle, maybe the whole team should get cancer.
Oh, send all angry letters and cards to the E-Man here.
What? I'm just saying what you're all thinking. This is my favorite part of American Superstars, when they have the retards on.
Hit her in her defective tit.
His daughter is a stupid asshole.
Hey, kid, you excited to come see me tomorrow?
There's nothing to do at your house.
What do you mean there's nothing to do? We do lots of stuff.
Your house is boring.
Well, you're coming to see me.
Do you have a present for me?
No.
And his co-workers, surprise surprise, are stupid assholes.
Good with only one testicle? Maybe the whole team should get cancer.
Oh, killed it, boss. I can't believe you said that.
Oh, come on, I'm just saying what you're all thinking.
Is he for real? Yes, he's for real. He was on Fat Boy this morning.
Oh, yeah, that's real, all right. Real bad.
Oh, you're real bad.
I think he's good. Not.
Oh, you scared me.
It's here at Frank's job that we're given another fantasy murder spree, followed by our first insight into the nature of Frank's discontentment from his perspective, in the first of a series of Bobcat's epic monologues, which no doubt are in some sense a product of his stand-up roots.
Supposed to support their freedom of speech when they don't give a fuck about yours or mine.
So you're against freedom of speech now? That's in the Bill of Rights, man.
I would defend their freedom of speech if I thought it was in jeopardy. I would defend their freedom of speech to tell uninspired, bigoted, blowjob, gay-bashing, racist, and rape jokes all under the guise of being edgy. But that's not the edge. That's what sells.
Once he's done, he's interrupted by his boss, who calls him into the office so that he may be smoothly, speedily, and inhumanely severed from the company for sending flowers to the receptionist.
Did you send Karen flowers to her home?
Yeah, I did.
Frank, I'm going to have to let you go. I want you to leave quietly. Don't harass Karen or anyone else on the staff as you leave.
Frank then goes to the doctor to find out that he's dying of inoperable brain cancer.
To remove it can be just as dangerous as leaving it. Oh, gotta take this. What? Well, I wanted the one with the moonroof. I'm going to fuck you. I'm going to come down to the dealership and I'm going to fuck you in the ass. You understand?
A man defeated, Frank goes home. He sits on the couch and resumes watching television. More of the same cancerous filth pours out, including the vile and wretched horror that is Chloe.
I love Chloe. She's my bestest friend ever, and I feel really blessed to have her in my life. Like, I don't know what I would do without her.
She's like my best friend. She's so pretty, she's so beautiful, and she's so rich. I love her. This party's gonna be amazing. Yeah!
I wanted an Escalade! Come on, Daddy, can take the thing. Get away from me!
It's my job as a parent to make her happy, so I screwed up this time. Because she's not happy. That's the evidence of it. If she's not happy, I screwed up.
His phone starts ringing, and when he answers it, he gets an earful of this shit.
I hate Mommy! I hate Mommy!
What are you talking about?
They got me a BlackBerry and I wanted an iPhone.
For Frank, the shitstorm has officially come full circle, as he sees the cultural forces that produce the Chloes of the world are the same that produced his own daughter. The world has nothing left for Frank, and Frank has nothing left for the world. That is except for one thing which he realizes just as he's about to pull the trigger.
You can stay. I don't care
I care about is my party.
Turn that off. That's all.
Dad, listen to me. This is the biggest day of my life, and you're up. Are you serious? You're so stupid. You're not even doing anything. I'm doing all the work. What the is that, Dad? What the is that?
That's all.
Dad, listen to me. You're not listening to me. You're just talking to the cameras.
The bitch must die!
Frank steals his neighbor's car and drives out to Chloe's school to scope her out, and it's here that we meet Roxy, the female lead.
Hey, creepy. Isn't the schoolgirl thing a little played out?
We jump to the end of the day, and Chloe is being her usual cunty self. And as she gets in her car, Frank makes his move.
Fucking boom, baby! Yeah! Fuck yeah! Die, you fucking bitch! All that money's not gonna help you now when you're getting butt-fucked by Beelzebub in hell! Excuse me there, I seem to have lost my composure for a moment. Don't act like you weren't thinking the same thing.
After that business is taken care of, Frank heads to a motel to finish what he started the night before, but he's interrupted by Roxy.
Hello? Hi. It's really excellent to meet you, Frank. Tell me all about it. Did the bitch cry?
She sees his suicide note, and at first she's just pissed off,
Well, do it then. I want to watch. Let's go!
but then convinces him to keep the blood flowing.
You kill yourself, Frank. And you're killing the wrong person, which would be a shame when there are so many other Chloes out there who need to die.
And that's how Frank winds up putting a bullet in Chloe's father. And Roxy puts a kitchen knife in Chloe's mother.
Oh, hey, get off me!
Dude, what are you doing? Don't hug me when you're covered in blood. It's like Serial Killer 101.
They make their way to a DIY car wash and try to hose off the blood, and it's here that Roxy convinces Frank to take her with him by telling him about her loving mother and father.
No, what about your family?
My mother is what you would call a crack whore. I live in a trailer with her and her boyfriend, and every night after she passes out, he comes into my room and rapes me.
They go to get some new clothes where the second monologue is triggered, as Roxy starts to ask Frank some perv-bait questions.
Are you attracted to me?
Don't be weird.
Well, so you can kill a teenager, just not fuck one?
Yeah.
Because you think I'm ugly.
It's unethical for me to answer that question. Because I refuse to objectify a child. I mean, that's part of what's wrong with everything. I'm not American Apparel. I'm not the creep that came up with those Bratz dolls.
All men like young girls.
Oh, that's what society's trying to sell you. But, you know, maybe it's time for adult males to aim a little bit higher than raping kids.
I love this speech. It seems to me to more go against the grain than anything I've seen in a film before.
Personally, I think that the modern pedophile hysteria is kind of overblown and definitely counterproductive. But more than anything, it's just wildly hypocritical. I mean, most movies today would have these two fuck.
Like Ellen Page fucks her Frank in Super, which is basically a dumber but still enjoyable version of God Bless America. Seth Rogen fucks a high schooler in Pineapple Express. The teacher fucks everyone in Black Swan. Pretty much any time they want a man to fuck a young girl, they find a way to make it happen, and no one really minds. And those Bratz dolls he mentions, they include this. This is a Bratz baby, and it's wearing a leather jacket and a thong.
I personally saw one of these dolls being sold in a Kmart. These are being marketed and produced in a society that still thinks it's okay to torture this guy for 1,000 years. I'm not saying this guy's a nice guy or anything, but I just think we need a little perspective.
This film turns the double standard on its head and cuts through the bullshit like a knife through spoiled rich cunt mother. So the duo go on to watch a movie, because why not?
Hey, bitch.
I mean, you're in country for a couple of months and all of a sudden you start seeing your buddies blowing away.
I'm in a movie.
Shit, you.
I'm in a
Then you
movie.
start doing.
No, I'm in a bookshop. No, bookshop. No, bookshop.
Of course, the movie theater's been a staple location of the pissed off for almost as long as airlines, so it's no surprise that it's occupied by a selection of insufferable assholes. So Frank and Roxy decide to suffer them no longer.
I'm recording this.
The film slows down here for a bit, and we get some nice filler scenes that work on the relationship and really show the incredible chemistry of these two characters. When talking their way out of trouble with a cop, Roxy is shown not to be quite as cool under pressure as Frank. She sounds much less sure of herself, and we see her cocking a gun in preparation for if things get out of hand. But Frank's able to defuse the situation and think on his feet to get the cop off their back. Frank teaches Roxy how to shoot, and they play Russian roulette with a cap gun, and share another few people that need to die.
I hate guys that say, actually all the time.
People who misuse the term literally.
Guys that buy $100,000 cars and then drive them around 10 miles slower than the speed limit.
Guys who wear lady pants.
Well, Pythagoras, maybe time to die.
These scenes really help cement the relationship roles between the two. Roxy is seen to be the one that really brings the energy and the momentum. She's the source of all the enthusiasm in the film. And you know that without her, Frank, apart from being dead, just wouldn't have the drive or vision to move forward. That said, Frank is still in charge. He's world-weary and stoic as he tries to manage the balance between not giving a shit and really giving a shit. Ultimately, Frank is in charge, and Roxy needs his guidance and presence of mind and ability to keep cool under pressure. They chill out in a motel where they get an update of the life of Stephen Clark.
And they go making fun of the guy who rides the short bus.
Yay, America.
Here we get another monologue, this time delivered by Roxy, and I have to say I just love this.
I like Alice Cooper.
You don't like Alice Cooper, Frank. That's like a Muslim saying that he likes Muhammad. You accept Alice Cooper. You accept that Alice came down and gave us rock that upset authority figures and made the outcasts not feel so all alone. You accept it. There would be no goth movement without Alice. No Trent Reznor, no Marilyn Manson, not even shitty soft cock rockers like Poison or Bon Jovi, because not only did he introduce macabre theatrics into rock, he also invented the power ballad with a little song called Only Women Bleed. But do you realize that he was the first rock star to wear makeup? And he was wearing dresses long before Bowie stole his first pair of culottes from his mother's clothesline. And he was screaming about death and frustration way before punk, so I guess you have to accept that Alice Cooper invented that too.
I'm not the world's biggest Cooper fan, but I just love this teenage enthusiasm. It's so intense and crazy. And I think Cooper was a great choice as well, since most of what she says here is pretty much true. The scene not only further fleshes out an unusually three-dimensional character, but also serves to bolster the film as a whole, since half the soundtrack is in fact Alice Cooper. While discussing more people that deserve to die,
People who use rock star as an adjective.
People that pound energy drinks all day.
People who use the term edgy, in your face, or extreme. Anyone who wears crystals or calls themselves spiritual.
Or people who say namaste.
Hippies. Anyone who buys an anarchy t-shirt.
Or people who use the term the man in a positive or negative light.
Anyone who's ever been pumped.
Or stoked.
a segment of fuller talk comes on, which is just an extremely thinly veiled the O'Reilly factor. And their next course of action becomes clear.
Have the ACLU defend my right to freedom of speech. And another thing, you pinhead, the ACLU, take heed America, I think is more dangerous to the United States than Al-Qaeda. It's more of the full story.
Anyone who makes a living spreading fear to the masses.
or is just plain mean.
Well, what?
You bitch!
Yep.
After a little more filler, they head to a diner, and Frank experiences another one of the headaches he's been suffering throughout the film, ostensibly caused by his brain tumor. Roxy squeezes a pressure point on Frank's hand, which, much to his surprise, actually helps. And then...
I think we're gonna need a montage.
You know what you need, Frank?
A straw?
You need a vacation.
So they head to a karaoke bar and our heroes dance in a sweet scene that once again just shows off the chemistry between these two. A lot of this stuff, if handled badly, could seem creepy as hell, and there are times when it comes mighty close. But it's handled well enough that there's never a sense that we're ever in any danger of Frank breaking propriety. After all, Frank's made his view on raping kids pretty clear.
Maybe it's time for adult males to aim a little bit higher.
But he also doesn't overdo it, as if he were dealing with some inner struggle. Their bonds are strong and sweet, but totally platonic, and it's refreshing. Which is another great thing about Bobcat's films. They're all peppered with these moments of just deep sweetness amid really fucked up situations, which makes it feel all the more authentic, because you know he didn't have to. It's not like he's gonna win back the Disney crowd after blowing baby guts all over its own mother's face. What it does do is get you invested in the relationship, so it's all the more depressing when conflict separates them later on.
Let's get away. Thank you. I know, everybody on board. We're getting away, aren't we? Thank you. Next, I'm going to do a little rap song you're going to like. Fuck the police. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to do that one. Thank you all.
Nice touch.
Back at another motel, Roxy suggests that once they're done, they bail to France, since the French hate Americans as much as they do. They get another update on Stephen Clark, who we hear has been brought back to television after a failed suicide attempt.
Finale of the show after last week's failed attempt to take his own life. Good news.
You should kill all those people. They make fun of that guy till he's ready to kill himself. Then they exploit him so everybody can feel better about laughing at him and pushing him over the edge in the first place. I really hate this country.
This might just be building to something.
And then we get good news, bad news time. Good news is, Frank doesn't have a tumor.
Don't have a brain tumor. What? You're not gonna die.
The bad news is, it turned out Roxy was full of shit.
Roxanne, we miss you, and we love you.
So Frank realizes that he just took a bored suburbanite and turned her into a monster. So he gets pissed right off and kills a pedo that he met earlier on in the diner.
Yeah, I got a lot of nieces. How much for a date?
He steals the fiddler's ute and gives Roxy the keys to the Camaro. He lets her know that he knows that she was full of shit with regard to her parents and essentially tells her to fuck off. This leads to another montage showing just how miserable Frank and Roxy are, since it really was a situation of they had nothing till they met each other, at which point they gained everything. So when Frank sees Roxanne's parents excitedly announce that
We're going to Disneyland.
you really just get a sense of how alone and in mourning they both are. With his friend and ally gone, there's not much reason to keep things going the way they were, so Frank decides it's time for it all to go down. And so it is that we're introduced to this guy. So this is the scene where Frank prepares for the big finale. Frank magically knows an incredibly well-supplied weapons dealer. And I do mean incredibly, like this is not a credible scene, but hey, what the fuck, right? The dealer is whimsically racist, in the sense that you get the feeling he'd be any kind of racist that his small mind would imagine would improve the chances of a sale.
357, so you know it's got some punch to it. You put this to the back of some nigger's head, all you're gonna see is pink mist. German, 9mm, made during the Second World War. Who knows how to kill people better than the Germans, right? You're not a Jew, Frank, are you? I'm just asking because, you know, I brought up a German gun. AK-47. When you absolutely, positively have to waste every single motherfucker in the room, except no substitute. It's an assault rifle, but it's still light. I could throw this off the roof. I could run this over with my car. I could bury it in the dirt and dig it up and it'll still fire. Look at this. That fits you. Look at this. You're friggin' Rambo, man. Look at that. Look. I love it. You know what? You don't even have to aim this thing.
This is just pure enjoyment. Intellectually, you know this guy's a massive scumbag piece of shit, but at this point, you're really just enjoying a brief moment of levity. And the guy just comes across as a lovable scoundrel. You just want to give him a hug. We're treated to another fantastic Alice Cooper song as we slow-mo our way to the final destination, the big American Superstars finale, where, as we heard earlier, Stephen Clark is performing live.
The moment we've all been waiting for. Welcome to the stage, my man, Stephen Clark.
Frank makes his way through the building, taking out a couple of people on the way.
Is that Sasquatch by the Marquee Pool? Oh no, it's Robin Williams.
Are you deaf?
Before walking out onto the stage and gunning down some of the jeering arseholes in the front row and one of the guys that tries to bail out the back door. He tells everyone to stay put and shows everyone his awesome smiley face belt buckle. Also the big-ass bomb strapped to his vest. Roxy shows up and warns Frank about a guard that was sneaking up behind him. She gets up on the stage with him and they do their solos and whatnot. And Frank delivers the final monologue.
Just calm down. Would you tell me who you are?
Is that thing on? My name is Frank. That's not important. America has become a cruel and vicious place. We reward the shallowest, the dumbest, the meanest, and the loudest. The worst qualities in people are looked up to and celebrated. And what have we become when we take the weakest in our society and we hold them up to be ridiculed, laughed at to the point where they will literally rather kill themselves than live with us anymore?
Frank?
Yeah, Stephen?
Now here we get a brutal twist.
I don't want to spoil it for you, but trust me, it's good. If you haven't seen the movie yet, find a way to see it. And if you can, find a way to pay for it. Because this movie only made $100K at the box office, despite getting some pretty decent buzz. And we need Bobcat to keep making movies.
This reveal is such a nut punch that it leaves nothing left in the world for Frank and nothing left of Frank for the world.
You are a pretty girl.
Thank you, Frank.
Take us home, Alice. So that was God Bless America.
I discovered God Bless America about 6 months ago, and it's taken the spot for me as my #1 favorite film of all time, pushing The Big Lebowski to the #2 slot. The reason for this isn't just that it's a perfectly executed recreation of the most obnoxious and sickening aspects of modern society being blown away without mercy, though obviously that helps. But for me, the film is possibly one of the most important to have come out in a long time for the underlying message that it's okay to be a malcontent. We seem for a large part to exist in an excruciatingly optimistic society that constantly pushes cliches like the grass is always greener on the other side, as if it's not possible that the grass could actually be greener on the other side. The general consensus seems to be that if there's anything wrong with the world, it's your fault, and you're never going to change anything if you have a pessimistic attitude, totally neglecting the possibility that it might actually be that you're never going to change anything, period. Misanthropy is a legitimate and recognized aspect of popular culture that appears to be cycling, rising in the odd decades and fading in the even, loosely speaking. Maybe you have good reason to be pissed off. Maybe a little discontentment is healthy. It shows that you're actually paying attention, like there's some perceivable link between what's going on in the world and the way we're responding to it. George Carlin once wrote, "I'm an outsider by choice, but not truly. It's the unpleasantness of the system that keeps me in. That's where my discontentment comes from, being forced to choose to stay outside." He also wrote, "I view my species with a combination of wonder and pity, and I root for its destruction. And please don't confuse my point of view with cynicism. The real cynics are the ones who tell you everything's gonna be alright." It's thoughts like this that give me hope. Hope that there's going to soon be an awakening of pissed off people that won't be forced into either some emo stereotype or bandwagon riding cheer squads for various political ideologies. Because that would mean that there are at least some people left in the world that are capable of recognizing hypocrisy again. And maybe there'll one day be enough people that are forced to choose to stay outside the system, that a better system will emerge in the wastelands of people that actually give a shit about consistency in thought and action. And in this world, no one will know the name of Kim Kardashian.
How'd that feel?
It felt good. It's a good night today.
Or maybe I'm just full of shit and I like watching people die. I'm Luke Troy. Fuck you everybody, good night.
Here's another slogan. Here's another slogan you run into all the time. God bless America. Once again, respectfully, I say to myself, what the fuck does that mean? Let me tell you a little secret about God, folks. God does not give a flying fuck about America, okay? He doesn't care.